I've compiled a list of 5 different football sports cards under $50 each that are great investments heading into this upcoming season. The first card I have on today's list is the Drake May Holo. This comes out of 2024 Donruss Optic. Right around 30-day average says it's about $45, give or take. And yeah, this would be a great investment. The reason I say this is because he just played in his second season in the Super Bowl. That is phenomenal. And based on, if you look at the roster that he was given, it looks like, you know, things can only really go up from here. Another reason this is a great investment to put your money into is because a holo is one of the more true like rookie cards. It's also one of the higher end sets. Donruss Optic and Prism for Panini tend to be like the highest 2 most popular sets. Typically the Prism Silvers is kind of what you want in Prism, and then the holos inside of Donruss Optic. So that's why I went with that. It's one of the more true rookie cards, widely regarded as one of like what people would actually want if they wanted a true rookie card of Drake May. Additionally, a base card of that product, some people might argue, is the true rookie card. However, anyone could open up one of those products and, you know, open that up, get a Drake May. It's so much more common just to get a base Drake May. So there's going to be a lot more out there, which really drives the value down. However, to only get like 1 holo, 2 holo out of every single blaster box, the odds of actually pulling a quarterback like Drake May is very unlikely, and that's what drives the prices up. So it's a step up from the true rookie card. Make sure you leave a like on this video, comment something down below if you agree or disagree with what I said here. Maybe you have some other cards that are under $50 that you think would also be a great investment. And also, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. The second card I have on today's list is the Jackson Dart Topps Chrome Refractor. The 30-day average goes for about $27. And if you don't know, Topps just took over the license from Panini, so all of the 2025 rookies also have those Prism rookie cards that are licensed, Donruss Optic, Donruss, all of that. And then additionally, once Topps took over the license, then they made their own licensed rookie cards for the 2025 class. So if I'm talking about anyone like from the 2024 class or before that, I'm talking about Panini products because they had the license, and that's where like people actually want licensed products that have the logos and all that different jazz on the uniforms inside of the card. And then now 2025 and pretty soon here, the 2026 class is all going to be licensed with Topps. So I really went back and forth with myself on this one. Jackson Dart, it's really tough because he's unarguably the most hyped up quarterback from the 2025 class, even though Tyler Shuck, big Saints fan over here, has like put up like statistically in some areas, some better numbers from the time he started. It's really tough though because him and Tyler Shuck and Jackson Dart, they played like, I don't even know, like about half of the season, whereas Cam Ward played a lot more games. And it's really tough to kind of compare all their stats really until we truly see a full year for all of them, hopefully this year. But yeah, he's definitely the most hyped up quarterback of his class. However, Malik Neighbors, Cam Scadaboo, hopefully back, returning, full health. He's also added Odell Beckham Jr. They got Abdul Carter on the defense. So just kind of like a bunch of different things that make it seem like the Giants should be a better team than they were last year. So this is a lot of speculation, but it really like, it makes sense. I mean, you really start to see, even with the 2024 class last year, we saw a bunch of quarterbacks take that big leap from their freshman to their sophomore season. You saw Bo Nix go really far into the AFC Championship. Who else? You saw Caleb Williams make it into the playoffs. Yeah, just guys like that. And then Drake May made it all the way to the Super Bowl. So we're kind of hoping that the Giants can do the same thing this year. Obviously, being in the NFC, the Saints, as a Saints fan, I want the Saints to, you know, I want Tyler Shuck to outperform Jackson Dart and kind of like throw that one there. But at the same time, like as a sports card investor and collector, like I want to see everybody do well at the end of the day. I want to see every single player play their best and do amazing things, but obviously that's just not the reality. The third card I have in today's video is the Brock Bowers Black and White Checker SSP out of Panini Prism 2024. This card features the only non-quarterback we have out of this entire list. Now, believe me, there's a lot more I wish I could add to this. However, we're sticking to 5 cards. Quarterbacks are the best investment when it comes to sports cards. So we threw one in here so that it wasn't all quarterbacks, but otherwise there's a ton more non-quarterback guys that I would easily throw in here. The reason I really like this card is because I could have done the Panini Prism Silver, which goes for about $11 on average. But again, a true rookie card, yes, you could buy this instead. So this is an alternative. You could also buy the silver or the holo if you wanted to for under $50. Regardless, I still think all of these are going to go up and they're all under $50 because of what I'm about to say. So Brock Bowers, if we look at his rookie season, he got over 1,000 yards receiving, and that's a great feat for any tight end. And if you think about the guys that he did it with on that team, it was not nowhere near where that offense is 2 years later. They didn't have Ashton Jeanty until last season. I think he's had this will probably be like a different quarterback every single season going into his third year here. They got Kirk Cousins, who has been known to actually sling the rock even when people thought he was way past his prime. By the time he got into Atlanta, he threw for over 500 yards one of the games. And as a safety blanket, regardless of if Kirk Cousins actually does get the start or whatever the plan is, he's also got first overall pick Fernando Mendoza throwing to him. So regardless of what that QB situation shakes out to be, he's got someone good that's throwing to him at all times. He's also got Ashton Jeanty that can kind of, run the ball so people could be more focused on him, and he should easily be able to find some open gaps kind of over the middle of the field and different things like that. The Las Vegas Raiders have seemed to lack some sort of like actual wide receiver talent. They really just have like a bunch of mid-end guys. They don't really have anyone special standing out there. So this also makes Brock Bowers a top target on the offense as opposed to even a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, just because he's a lot more reliable than a lot of those guys are. The fourth card I have on today's list is the Jaden Daniels Holo out of 2024 Donruss Optic. Same exact card as I mentioned earlier for the Drake May. And the reason this is typically I would say a Prism Silver is like an even better official rookie card that you'd want to get. But for high quarterbacks like these, unfortunately, this goes out of our $50 range. So this is the next best option. Drake Mays and Jaden Daniels and any of those top quarterbacks, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, all of their Prism Silvers are like $100 at least probably. So yes, way over $50, but you can instead get the Optic Holo, which is the same thing just from Donruss Optic instead of Prism. It's essentially the same card. It's just people view the Prism Silver a little more. They value it a little more than the Optic Holo. Now, I feel like this needs almost no explanation. Jaden Daniels made it to the playoffs his rookie season. He showed great success. He was an amazing player. Now, he got hurt last season, which really tanked down his cards. So that was a big opportunity that everybody jumped on that train. If you saw those card markets fall after seeing how he did his first season, people were buying Jaden Daniels, and they probably still are. As far as the Commanders' offense goes, it's a little hard. I can't think of anything specific that kind of like reminds me of something that happened this offseason that really would have made their offense better. However, I mean, they got guys like, Zach Ertz as a tight end, Terry McLaurin, Austin Eckler, who was amazing for the Chargers. And I think, I really hope that he has another like crazy breakout season. I think they also have Deebo Samuel too. So they definitely have playmakers. But I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys they had last season as well. The fifth and final card that I have on today's video is the Shedeur Sanders Topps Chrome Refractor Purple out of 75. This comes in at right about $50, and honestly, for $50, that's right within our budget. If I would have said the refractor as well, but if you can get a rookie quarterback out of 75 for $50, I feel like that's a steal. There's only 75 of them, so it is going to be like the hardest out of all these cards to actually get your hands on probably. And getting people to sell for what it actually goes for is probably going to be hard too, because a lot of people are going to want to hold on to this card. But if you can find one for right around $50, I would say jump on it. This is probably the riskiest of all the cards because technically I'm pretty sure right now he is set to be the backup to Deshaun Watson. However, if you look at last season, he was at one point like the 4th or 5th string on that roster, and people like said there was like no chance he would even start one game behind this many quarterbacks. Well, Deshaun Watson, I'm pretty sure between like injuries, legal battles, a bunch of like off the field stuff, I don't even know if he did end up playing at all or hardly did. Then they brought in Joe Flacco, I think at one point, or they had him to start. I can't remember. He was on the Bengals and he was on the Browns, all over the place. He got to play a little bit. Dylan Gabriel, they drafted before him. And for where they drafted Dylan Gabriel at versus Shedeur Sanders, and based on kind of like what the two actually showed when they did get to play, Shedeur Sanders, I would say, looks like a clear-cut better quarterback. You have to imagine, or you have to remember, this is with the Cleveland Browns. Any quarterback that has played for the Cleveland Browns throughout history, it's just like there's like a shadow hanging over their head. They're almost doomed from the start. But when you look at a guy like Baker Mayfield, who has shown true potential and then finally got his chance to prove himself on the Rams, ends up in an offense with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and now we really know who Baker Mayfield is by now. But you don't really get, you just get a little sample size when they're on the Browns. They lose a guy like Myles Garrett. They did have a really young rookie draft class. A lot of guys drafted last year that are already starting in their first year, second year. So I feel like they're a pretty young roster. So this team is also developing, which makes it even tougher. However, hopefully this year, if he does get the start, you know, some of these guys can step up. Carson Schwarzenegger, Mason Graham, who is Harold Fannin Jr. or something like that. There's a bunch of guys all over the roster that just, you know, they're super young, and hopefully some of them can kind of outbreak as some of these stars, because right now Cleveland is kind of missing all of that. They got Jared Verse, but yeah, they got rid of Myles Garrett, which was undeniably their best player they've had in, you know, probably most of their franchise, honestly, other than like Jim Brown and some other guys. So it's really tough to play for the Browns in this day and age. But I really do think that Shedeur Sanders is going to get another chance at some point this season, and there's still hype around him. He's Deion Sanders' son. Like, you know, there's always something to be said about that. And I like where things are at with him. I wouldn't say go invest in Deshaun Watson. He's got too many issues. But Shedeur Sanders, regardless if he does play or doesn't get to play much this season, who knows? You know, he might end up on another team and do something like Baker Mayfield did in a couple years down the line. So I would say while you have the chance, take this investment, and yeah. All right, everybody, that is my 5 cards under $50. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know kind of what you think of these videos. I can definitely make more of them. With different, you know, thresholds, monetary-wise, number of cards, all that jazz. Let me know also if there's any cards you would add to this list, or if there's any things that I listed, any cards that I listed that you would take away from this list and you don't think this is a good purchase. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.